One thing is very clear that this is not closure. Vodafone is on its last leg now. Question is here, who is to blame? In the judgment that was delivered yesterday, the Supreme Court has a table on page 4 or 5 or something like that. It has a table on what the dues are for each company, and that table says preliminary estimates. So even the Supreme Court realizes that these are preliminary estimates, but they are not willing to accept any debate or discussion on the methodology.
Sunil Jain, you have been tracking telecom sector very closely, and this verdict of Supreme Court on AGR dues. I want you to decode this verdict. What is good about this judgment? What is bad about this judgment? Is it a closure?
I think, Sanjay, one thing is very clear, that this is not closure, because while some people in the press have said, and even some of the advocates have said, that a 10-year period that the Supreme Court has given is actually welcome for companies like Vodafone. Vodafone is on its last leg now. Now it is trying to raise money. It may just survive. It will be a very weak player if it survives. But frankly, a company which has invested $52 billion is now on its last legs. So this is a very sad situation to be in here. I think the critical question is here, who is to blame? Now the question is, who is to blame? Is it the Supreme Court or is it the government of India? I think the Supreme Court and the government of India had to share the blame to a large extent. And let me explain to you why. The issue at the crux of this is, what is revenue? So for example, the telecom companies argue that when they put money in a bank account and they earn interest on that, the interest is not revenue, so they should not pay license fee or spectrum usage charge to the government on that. The government said that no, even the interest that you earn in a bank account is revenue. Now the Supreme Court, rightly or wrongly, agreed with the government of India. But the point is that till the Supreme Court gave its judgment on what was revenue, in 2006, 2007, 2011, and even as late as 2015, various courts, whether it's the High Courts or the TDSAT, various courts said that the telecom companies were right. So frankly speaking, when the Supreme Court finally gave its verdict and said that this is revenue, at that time the Supreme Court should have said that you will pay just the principal amount, you will not pay the interest and the penalty. Now out of the 1,40,000-50,000 crore that these companies are to pay, 75% is interest and penalty. So I think that was the first mistake the Supreme Court did, that when they took a call on what was revenue, they applied the interest and penalty retrospectively. That should not have been done. That is the first mistake the Supreme Court did. The second mistake that the Supreme Court did was that even once it gave its definition of what was revenue, whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. The DOT's computations of the penalties that had to be paid by the companies contested this, and they said that you've calculated you've done the calculation wrong. We're not disagreeing with what the Supreme Court said on what revenue is. You've just done the calculation wrong. Now the Supreme Court didn't allow even the calculation to be relooked, which is completely wrong. Everybody allows it, even the taxman allows it. Very interestingly, in the judgment that was delivered yesterday, the Supreme Court has a table on page 4 or 5 or something like that. It has a table on what the dues are for each company, and that table says preliminary estimates. So even the Supreme Court realizes that these are preliminary estimates, but they are not willing to accept any debate or discussion on the methodology. That is the third mistake. That is the second mistake which the Supreme Court made. The third mistake which the Supreme Court made was that when the cabinet, which is the highest level of executive decision making in the country, the cabinet in its wisdom said that we will allow these companies 20 years in which to pay the money. The Supreme Court decided that though this is a policy decision, normally the courts do not get into policy decisions, they just let it be. The Supreme Court challenged the policy decision and said, no, we will make it 10 years. This is completely wrong. The Supreme Court should not have done it. The fourth mistake, a very big mistake, is that of the government of India. So let me explain to you, I'll have to go back a little bit into history. But in the past, when the government gave the spectrum almost free to telecom players, they used to charge them a license fee and a spectrum usage charge. So let me give you an example which is non-telecom related. If you want to buy a house, so you can either pay 5-10 crore upfront for the house, or if you don't have the money, you go to HDFC and you say, can I get a 5-10 crore rupee loan to buy this house? And I will pay you X amount of EMI. So when you buy a house, you either pay the money upfront or you pay the EMI. So when the government started charging from 2010, the government started auctioning spectrum, and they auctioned it for lakhs of crores. So when the government started charging upfront the money for the spectrum, then they should no longer have been taking the EMI. So actually in 2010 itself, when the government started auctioning spectrum, that time the UPA government was in power. At that time, Dr. Manmohan Singh's government should have scrapped the license fee and the spectrum usage charge, because essentially this was an EMI. Now, Dr. Manmohan Singh did not do it. He made a mistake. And in fact, the last two elections have been fought on the belief that the UPA made lots of mistakes. It was an incompetent government. So let's say that this incompetent government, quote unquote incompetent government, did not do the right thing in 2010. So let's forget about it. In 2014, the Modi government had come to power. So it's been 6 years and the Modi government has not done anything. Last point I want to make here is that anything the Modi government had done or even does today, if they reduce the spectrum, if they remove the spectrum usage charge or they scrap the license fee, this is not a favor which they are doing to the industry. In the case of Vodafone alone owes the government of India 2,50,000 crore rupees. It owes primarily government-owned banks another 50,000 crore rupees. So if the government is not going to take a decision which makes it easier for a Vodafone Idea to survive, it is the government and the government-owned banks that will hurt the most. So even in its own interest, this is not about the industry anymore. If the government wants to protect its own 3 lakh crore rupees, it should be scrapping this, and it has not done that. So actually the government is one of the biggest parties which is at fault in this case.
Do you think the chapter is now closed, or you will still see curative petitions and some other cases and the matter is still not closed?
Well, I think as long as lawyers want to buy another Mercedes-Benz or another Rolls-Royce, the chapter can never be closed. So the lawyers will convince their clients that a curative petition will work. Somebody will even say, why don't we go back and look at the parity between the PSUs, Power Grid and all these companies were charged large amount of money. Then the court, said that they don't need to pay. So the lawyers will even say, why don't we fight on that argument? The lawyers will come out with a million reasons why the judgment should be challenged. I think there's not enough cases, there's not enough history to show that the Supreme Court actually goes back and reverses its judgment. So I think for all practical purposes, the matter has been settled there.
Now, what is the implication on the telecom sector? Will it be 3-player market? It will be duopoly market, which actually means monopoly. And what will happen to consumers?
Well, as far as the telecom sector is concerned, BSNL, MTNL virtually a non-starter. So essentially, it will be RJio and Bharti, which is a duopoly. And if Vodafone survives, Vodafone will be a very weak third player. It will operate in certain markets. It is unlikely that it will be a national player. So I think that is as far as the telecom sector is concerned. I think when there are only 2 players who really are in control of the market, the amount of money which they will pay to the government for spectrum will probably keep coming down. So the government will be a big loser. As far as users are concerned, if you look at the telecom revenues today, whether it is for data or for voice, obviously those tariffs today are much lower than they were, 5-6 years ago or even 3-4 years ago. So to the extent that, Bharti Airtel and RJio start increasing their prices, in the initial few years, it may not matter because the consumer will still be better off compared to what she was 4-5 years ago. Yeah. But the problem is when you have a duopoly, you don't know when they start jacking up the prices. You don't know when the quality of services come down. And that is when the consumer will get hit. And the problem is then we hope that either TRAI or the Competition Commission will be able to fix things. It's very, very difficult to actually regulate players and regulate the quality of service, which is why globally and in India, people have always opted for competition as a way to fix things. And we, unfortunately, over the last few years, have decimated competition.
This whole 15 years old saga of telecom tragedy, I would call it, what does it say about the Indian state? By that I mean government, regulator, and the judiciary.
Well, I think it's very unfortunate. In the case of Vodafone Idea, for example, apart from the money, the $17 billion that Vodafone spent to buy the company out from Hutch and from the SR Group, Vodafone has invested about $30 billion. Idea has invested about $20 to $22 billion. So if a company has invested $52 billion, and I'm not including the acquisition cost, if a company has invested $52 billion, and then that company is forced to shut down because of bad policy or bad court judgments, it signals a very poor investment climate in the country. Telecom, as you know, has for the last 20 years or so, it has been plagued with bad decisions, whether bad decisions by regulators or bad decisions by the government of India. So this has been a problematic sector to begin with. Now you got more problems. Frankly, it augurs very poorly for us. Somebody said to me in a joke yesterday that at one time, investors felt that India stood for, I will never do it again. So, that's an awful situation to be in. But I think the message that has gone out today, whether Vodafone survives or not, the message that has gone out is that India is a difficult place to do business. The government of India is not going to help you. It probably may put some roadblocks in your way. So if you're coming here, come at your own peril. That's not a happy situation to be in.
This is very hurtful acronym that he came up with. Sunil, thank you for explaining this to our viewers.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be here. Thank you.